people being interested. But let me tell you this. And still in the US, there is an application called Esusu. That application is founded by a Nigerian and a guy from, I believe, from Egypt, but both of them are living in California. You know what they are today? These guys have been able to raise a Series B round of $135 million. And what they do is that they provide rental information, helping American, okay, who are at the bottom of the pyramid to get access to essential rental opportunities so that they can contribute to providing as well the landlords with credit information about these guys and be rewarded for providing credit information, and at the same time finding affordable rental and also helping these guys to build their wealth and build real estate portfolio and so forth. So it all depends on how you want to do it. But in the end, it's all about where can we collectively pull money? Because when we come stronger as a collective, as many people who want to achieve a common goal, the issue becomes the burden is reduced. Because if I've got 10,000 people, if I've got 1,000 people who collectively put $100, together we can achieve so much more than if I were to go out there and trying to find $100,000 on myself, right? That's kind of what it is right now to see. And okay. I'll continue to provide more examples as we go along.
Thank you so much. Now, on the 23rd of May this year, right? All STOKVEL leaders in South Africa had a conference. Can you please shed more light on that one? And to all our viewers that has just joined, this live is about a STOKVEL. We have an expert in this industry that can actually better guide us. We will come back with another Zoom. But now, if you have just tuned in, we're talking about STOKVEL, how we can come together, you know, in terms of Namibia, it's called a cooperative, and we've touched on different terminologies worldwide, how we can all come together and be economically independent as possible. Mr. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So the SLC 2.0 was the result, which by the way stands for STOKVEL's Leaders Conference. It was put together by my good friend and best friend from the Congo as well, at the back of the success of an application called STOKVEL. STOKVEL is perhaps the first attempt of digitizing the constitutional rights of STOKVELs in South Africa. Why was STOKVEL created in the first place? Let's understand that, and then we will understand why the SLC conference existed. STOKVEL was created as a mobile application to respond to the disparity that exists in the STOKVEL industry, especially when it comes to trust. Now, you can only imagine that if a STOKVEL administrator is managing funds from 200 people, right? Traditionally, these people will typically come with hard cold cash. They wouldn't necessarily put them in the bank account, but then they would use the block notes, right? In the block notes, they will write. The block notes was used as the ledger. The ledger required to record. So Tosi brought in today $200 on this specific day. Let me write it down here. And then there is person. Then there is John. Then there's that person. Then there's this. Then so that book. If you come to South Africa and you ask any STOKVEL person, especially our, you know, our grandparents, and then our now that book today. Imagine now if that book is tampered with, or if the book, if there's, for example, flood and or there's rain, and that book actually goes missing in the water, you can only imagine that that ledger of transaction is gone. At the moment the book is gone, finished, done, right? You will not be able to retrieve the relevant information about what happened, who contributed this, and who contributed. That book is the ledger. So STOKVEL was born to solve that fundamental problem, whereby, first of all, how do we protect the book? We protect the book by digitizing it. Okay, so number one, instead of writing it down, people can just install an application, and once they install the application, they can record the information out there, the cell phone number, the name, the address, where they live, and all that kind of stuff. And that will then provide traceability as well. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, there will be the rules of engagement. The constitution will be, the digital constitution will be written. Okay, so even if today you lose your phone, you can buy a new phone and you will be able to retrieve that information because it is stored on the server somewhere. But today, if you lose the book, what's going to happen to the book? And also, the last point, when it comes to the financials, the money was now collected and kept in a bank account. So that's the reason why STOKVEL exists. Now, STOKVEL just in 2021 had a mini conference, very mini conference, created to promote the notion of STOKVEL as an application to respond to the needs of STOKVELs. So in May 22nd and 23rd, the essence of the event was, let's put together, let's bring all the leaders. Why are the leaders? Because the leaders are the guys who connect directly with the communities on the ground. They understand exactly who is in Soweto, who is in Tembisa, who is in Mamelodi, who is here in big offices as well, because even some of the guys who work for Standard Bank and whatnot, they're also contributing towards the STOKVELs, right? So it was, let's put together all these guys and let's talk to them about what are the new tools that exist, what are the opportunities, what can they do? Because, and you guys will notice, money kept in a bank is losing value every single year because of inflation. So most of the STOKVELs today are either consumer STOKVELs or they're saving STOKVELs. Very few of them are investment STOKVELs. And when I say investment STOKVELs, replace that investment with any business, whether it is transport, real estate, or agriculture, doesn't matter. Okay, as long as you identify a niche, replace the keyword investment with that niche. Now, when you keep money in the bank, it does not grow more. It does, in fact, it loses your buying power every single year. We all know that, right? And also, when you keep money into a bank account, it does not attract a large amount of interest. Typically, it will be in the DRC, for example, when you keep money in the bank account, it only attracts you about 2% a year in a fixed interest rate. And you can negotiate that probably to 5% a year if you bring, for example, $2 million in the bank account, right? Now, here in South Africa, I believe FNB can give you up to 7.5%. And maybe African Bank can give you up to 13%, right? But once again, it depends on the appetite. So you can only imagine that we wanted to talk to the leaders and say to them, listen, instead of keeping money there, look for better opportunities so we can give you a unique opportunity to start creating wealth. How do you create wealth? You create wealth not by saving, but by investing. But of course, before you save, you need to have. And for you to have, you need to save. Sorry. Before you create wealth, you need to have money. For you to have that money, you need to save. For you to save, you need to work. Or you need to have some form of money generating revenue, right? So once you understand that, yes, we can start by saving, and now we can move that into investing. And as we invest, we can now move it into wealth creation. And the wealth creation is only the simplest discipline of, first of all, allocating capital into money, into cash flow generating opportunity, but also managing the portfolio over time and diversifying it across industries, across geographies, across sectors, and across whatever that is. And that's essentially what even my company, Exalio, is currently focused on doing, right? That's what we are doing. We are more into wealth creation, whether we leverage the STOKVEL principle, which is simply collective savings, and whether we are actually directly investing in some of the best opportunities out there. Our job is to bring the best investment opportunities from the world to Africa, but also unlock some of the best investment opportunities from Africa and allow somebody from Namibia to invest into diamonds in the Congo, or somebody in Congo to invest into oil in Nigeria, or somebody in Nigeria to invest in real estate in South Africa, and somebody in South Africa can invest in real estate in the Philippines, right? So those are the opportunities that we work with. Or it could also be somebody from Africa to invest in a Tesla stock, because Tesla is doing what it's doing in electric vehicles, right? So we come in to identify the global opportunities, but now to give them to African communities. So the aim of the conference on that specific day was for me to break down the barriers of this, and also removing the myths around digital assets, cryptocurrencies, tokenization, so forth, but speak to them exactly about what are we doing to solve Africa's problems. It's not just about M-Pesa. M-Pesa is just moving money from point A to point B. If I'm sending you, Tosi, I'm sending you money. I'm not doing nothing to you. I'm just giving you money. And when I give you that money with M-Pesa, what do you do with it? You take that money, you go to the bank or to somebody in the corner, you say, listen, I want to withdraw that money. And when you draw that money, all you do next is to go and buy rice and buy fufu for the family, right? And on that front, last week I was reading a report. The remittances in Africa moved from $39 billion to to 90-something billion. But let me round it off to $100 billion for easy of example. Now imagine this is money coming from the African diaspora, the Namibians in the US, the Namibians in Europe, the Namibians in Australia sending money back home, the Zimbabweans, the Congolese, and the Nigerians, all of that money. Now take just 1% of that, 1%, one single percent. Take that money, that is $1 billion. Do you know how much $1 billion can do to help people in Africa? Do you know how much the Namibians of the diaspora can help the Namibian government to develop infrastructure, to develop schools, to develop roads, to develop the healthcare system?
Right.
Why do we have to go to the IMF? Why do we have to go to the World Bank? Why do we always have to send money to help our poor people instead of sending money to develop businesses so that we can consume from our own? You can achieve that through the STOKVEL's mentality. But forget about STOKVEL's. Remove the word STOKVEL. You can achieve that as a collective. I want you to think about it collective. You know why? Because STOKVEL has a bad connotation. People think that STOKVEL is just for the nannies, who are working and taking care of the children and cleaning the home. No, it's just a collective. We are collectively doing something together. So if we collectively, as Namibians living abroad, we say, listen, we just realized that we're sending at least $10 billion in that 90 billion. Maybe we are like in 5 billion, right? So, and this is like a year. Now, what can we do as a collective to go out there and take 1% of that money? Maybe that 1% could be $5 million. We don't care. But $5 million is a lot of money already to deploy it into something in Namibia that can help develop the local economy, create jobs, and stimulate and so forth. And in the process of doing so, you're creating your own wealth as well, right? Because now you're setting things up for generational wealth. That's how we need to think as African people about where technology is going and where our money is going. Otherwise, we are still going to remain enslaved about the white master and that economic colonialism. So those are the things that we need to be able to think about, Tosi, as we go on. I can talk about this all day long.
Yes, thank you so much. That was really thought-provoking. Thank you all so much for joining globally. I see my good friend, Mr. Roger De Peza in Canada. I see my brother in Sume, and both him and his wife is an entrepreneur. Nico Kayamo, Mr. Dawedapo, HK95.1. That's our UK radio, Namibian radio based in the UK. Thank you all so much. So if you have your questions to Mr. John, please feel free. It's the time. Mr. Zenzi, Ms. Zenzi, Ava says that's my former colleague and schoolmate. I would say my brother Frank Hinda in Joburg. I mean, it's all over the world. Then I see Mr. Ray Kaura in the US, Mr. Meg D. Meroro. Let me give all the shout out to the people because you took time and you saw the importance of such gathering. Our pastor Kaubi, I'm so super grateful. You are the reason why we have so many audience tonight, because you gave us the opportunity to be on the radio. Everybody that is on the Zoom will give you time to be able to raise your questions. If you want to keep them very briefly, because it's a lot of people. We'll also be taking some comments via Facebook as well, because I'm live on Facebook. So we have Mr. John. He's based in Johannesburg. He's originally from Congo. He's a prominent businessman globally, not only in Johannesburg. Also talk about the new venture that you are venturing in the US. He made examples of a Nigerian, what is it, I think in California, you said, partnering up with someone. So Africans are making their moves. And I think, and I know for sure, for each and every one of us that are tuned in tonight, we are investing our time wisely. And I think many of you who just tuned in and wondering why she all dressed up in her royal attire is because I was hosting, can you imagine, Namibia Kenya Trade Conference for 2 days. And I was so honored to have our Deputy Minister of Finance, Public Enterprise, Honorable Maureen Hinder at that event. The Windhoek Mayor was also present. And one of the things that the Deputy Minister alluded to was to say there are a lot of unclaimed funds, whether if it's bank accounts or pension funds, and the banks are literally making money out of it. So if we come together collectively, and then we also had the ambassador of Kenya at the event. Tomorrow we are going to continue at Empower. So it's also something that you need to attend, because then you're going to branch out and network. We gotta live and breathe networking. Here I'm seated in my house in Namibia, but I'm speaking to many individuals across the globe, and that is so much profound. And I'm sure moving forward, this is not the first nor the last time to have Mr. John on. We will probably be joining his company. I will take that decision. And the reason why we have this Zoom tonight is to say, for yourself now to take a decision and say, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to make your investments? Because a lot of times what normally happens is that we want to make the banks richer. But then when it comes to us, and then come together as people of color, to be able to invest together, we don't do that. We have seen how, Indians trade, how the Jewish trade, and it's something to be emulated, but we don't do that. You rather say, oh, Stokvel Zoom, what does that mean? But at the end of the day, if you don't invest in yourself right now, you're probably going to regret that. And I'm glad that everyone has joined tonight, and we are super grateful to have you on board. We also want to send a special thank to Mr. Pershi Kandukira. He's an Namibian based in California, but then he came up with this idea to be able to say, how do we all come together collectively? So I see a lot of people joining on Facebook. We're super appreciative. Please feel free to ask questions about Stokvel. We also want to ask Mr. John, what are the possible options in his company or any other stuff that he can recommend? But obviously, as an entrepreneur, there is no way that he can recommend any other company, but then us to be honored to be speaking to him and be able to do future businesses with him. So if you have any questions, I will be looking at all my lives. So feel free to post them. And if you want to ask something on Zoom, we'll then be posting questions, having people to post questions. But very briefly, I also have my primary school, what is it, a schoolmate, Uchapa Cheka Kapothambo. Both of us, we had unique names during the apartheid days, in primary schools. And we're proud to say that. Meg D. Merara, I see you also. Thank you all so much. Mr. Sian Muksha, I also see you. Yvondia Ingrid. Mr. John, if you hear anybody with questions, if you can text on
Sure.
Zoom, I can also be able to read on the chat. Please feel free to talk to us. Anybody on Zoom, you can also raise your hand so that we can put you on.
So while people are preparing their questions, I just want to bring some light into what happens wrong in the financial system and why people will continue, at least for now, trusting traditional banks and not any innovative financial institution and so forth. Let me explain a couple of myths, okay? Let's talk about banks, traditional banks. And I'm going to be very provocative. And I always say this, banks are broke. That's just the reality. And you know why banks are broke? They don't have the money. That money does not belong to banks at all. It belongs to the people. It belongs to you. The only time that the bank can actually create money is by offering you a service whereby you're paying them a fee. And for them to offer them that particular service, banks are legally obligated, allowed to implement what is called fractional reserve banking. What does it mean? If today I come to a bank, Percy opens a bank, and he says, fine, this is a credit union bank. Fantastic. Now, what happens in the credit union bank? I come in and I deposit $1,000. Now, when I deposit my $1,000, what am I really buying? You may ask. Do I buy the fact that I'm putting money into the bank account? No, in fact, what you're buying is you're buying security. You're buying comfort. You're buying the comfort that you get from the bank for you to be able to achieve those goals, right? Now, sorry, somebody is speaking behind. Let me just yeah, okay.
Maybe mute everyone for now until they can come on. Guys, please let's check
go out there and mute
our mics.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, so you're literally buying on security, right? Because now through fractional reserve banking, what's going to happen? I deposit my $1,000 into Percy's bank, then Tusi comes to Percy's bank and say, Mr. Percy, listen, I want to borrow $1,000. So what does Percy do? Percy looks no further away by the $1,000 that Mr. Lombella just deposited in his bank. Now he takes $1,000, he gives it to Tusi. And says, okay, fine, Tusi, when you come back and pay, you're going to pay back 35 with 35%. So Tusi comes back and pays $1,350. So what has the bank done? The bank has just created $350 at the back of my $1,000. But this is the problem that the bank doesn't do. The bank does not take a percentage of that 35%, that $350, and share that with John Lombella, because the bank used John Lombella's money to be able to go out there and loan it to Tusi, right? So banks have for a very long time worked on those principles, and there are governing laws that allow them to be able to apply to embark like that. And guess who's making the big bucks? Those guys supporting the banks behind the scenes, including commercial banks and the central bank, are the guys who are really, really milking it out. Because if the bank, for example, goes out, goes out there because there's an issue, what the bank is going to do is they will be bailed out by the central bank. But if the central bank cannot bail out the bank, then the government will step in for them to be able to implement laws. And we've seen that in the US, for example, during the COVID situation, right? What did they do? The Fed had to print $1 trillion after the government had passed the law into parliament, right? They passed the law and said, listen, go out there, print, and when you print, you take this money, you give it to people for free. And Percy knows that people received hundreds of, I know some Congolese brothers. I know a brother, I'm not going to mention his name, Tusi. This guy collected $2.5 million, my Congolese brother. He got $2.5 million, free money. But you know what he did with that money? And this is the
how? What do you mean by free? Because we're all curious now.
Let me tell you why it was free. It was free because this was called the SPA loan. SPA loans in America was open loans during the COVID situation. If you run a small business, an LLC, like you, as long as you are an entrepreneur, you run a restaurant, you run this, just go ahead and apply. Without even proper due diligence, they will give you money. So this guy had an aviation company, consulting aviation company, and they gave him $2.5 million. But you know what he did with it? He went with that $2.5 million. He bought himself a Lamborghini, and then he bought a small plane. And by buying a small, I'm like, dude, but now you're taking the money, and you're not really using the money to solve the problems of what you say you were going to solve, which is actually helping your employees, right? And that's just the terrible thing that happened with us African brothers. And he could have used that money for him to be able to do better things. You take a loan, yes, you can take a loan, that's fine. But use it for good debt, not use it for the bad debt. And that's the unfortunate part, that we as an African people, we don't understand about money. And when we go out there to borrow money from the banks, we buy to buy groceries, we get it to buy cars, furniture, but none of these things are going to bring you money. Because now you would have consumed, and you still need to create more money for you to now go ahead and repay. Get a loan at least for you to go into a Stockvel investment opportunity, or to buy real estate, or to invest into an agribusiness, or to do something that will generate more money for you. Now, when it comes to scams, here's the problem. If you find, look, it doesn't matter whether they call it the 200 Rand WhatsApp Stockvels. Let me tell you what happened there. I don't know about that opportunity. I heard it about from you guys yesterday and today. But this is what me knowingly and having lost as well a lot of money in the financial world, I understand. I'll tell you exactly what happened. So there are three psychological elements in that sentence. Number one, 200 Rand. 200 Rand, everybody can get access to 200 Rand. Number two, it's called WhatsApp. It's easier for people to get onto WhatsApp. The fact that I can create very quickly a community on WhatsApp and create multiple groups in WhatsApp, it's very quick for me to share information, and I can do that, right? Number three, Stockvels. Why? Because Stockvels was used in South Africa, actually being used in South Africa as a means to collect money. All of these elements played a major role into the psychic of those who are looking to make money. Now, the fourth element, which is not on that particular sentence, is the following. The people who were promoting, I suppose, maybe, were promoting that particular Stockvels, promised some investment returns. Now, when you engage or embark in any financial opportunity that promises you returns, and I say promises you returns, and especially higher returns, know that you gotta take it with a pinch of salt. That's potentially a scam. That's number one. Number two, you need to be able to look into okay, so if it is a company, so what are you trying to do here? Who is the team behind this specific opportunity? What have these people done before? Have they deployed something or something somewhere, or built companies that have been successful before? What are they trying to solve as a problem, right? Number four, you can actually look into the support mechanism. Okay, so how is the support actually going about this? And whether it's a Bitcoin scam, whether it's a WhatsApp Stockvel group scam, or whether it's a real estate opportunity, whether it's even a loan shark banking, ask yourselves tough questions as you go out there and do your due diligence. The problem with 99.999% of people from around the world, not only black brothers and sisters in Africa, but even the white folks overseas, is that everybody is so fixated on wanting to become rich overnight. So if I come today and I tell you, listen, invest $200, 200 Rand. This is the WhatsApp group, 200 Rand WhatsApp group, because you will be putting 200 Rand minimum, whatever. And every week you're going to earn 1,000 Rand, whatever. But now, look, how the hell am I creating 1,000 Rand? Explain to me the mechanics. Where is the money coming from? What are you doing with my 200 Rand that you collected? What are you deploying that money for me to be able to earn the 1,000 Rand every single week? How does it work? Okay, I hear what you say, but I don't know how it works. Can you explain to me, break it down in layman terms so that really it makes sense? And then when I part ways with my 200 Rand, it makes sense. I've made the decision to put that 200 Rand into your pot. And now I'm like, oh, fine, I can go sleep, knowing as well that, you know what, it is a risk, because anyone who tells you that investment doesn't carry risk is a liar to you. That's also a con artist. Every investment that exists in the world today, I don't care what it is, even the banks, it carries a certain degree of risk. The question is, what kind of risk are you willing to take? And last, one other comment to make to people who often like to invest into these things is the mistake that a lot of people make is that they go out there and take the last savings. Why would you want to take to your last savings for you to be able to be part of an opportunity where somebody's already made a lot of money and you're just coming in without even understanding the fundamentals behind it? That's the common mistake we make. Oh no, you know what? Those were my last savings. But hang on a second. Well, those were your last savings, but who told you to go and put money there? Did you follow the crowd? Did you really understand what you were putting money into? Why would you go and take your last saving, all of it, because you want to be able to turn that into like a magic wand? No, come on. Things need to change. And that's what we need to be able to teach our people in Africa. I see some people have questions. Yes. We have Trabe that has questions. I can start taking some questions, and then I will give the example of Uber. I will give the example of Uber, Tusi, to everybody so they can understand the power.
Okay, just a second before you get there. Like we said, it's very important that you ask the questions now, because sometimes we always have a thing of misunderstanding people and say, oh, Tosi started a Stokvel with Percy. No, we did not start a Stokvel. It is not yet legal in Namibia. But what we are saying is, let's bring you the expert that's going to come and speak to you and going to come and speak through you so that you understand. Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs on this platform. Ims Nashinga is one of them. Mr. Sula Goba Butterfly, who does not know him in the entertainment industry. People all over the globe. It's very important that we ask. And as Namibians, like I'm saying, Mr. John that we are speaking to right now, he's based in Johannesburg, and I'm in Namibia, and we are all connected. And it's the same, what is this association that we're going to have to be able to form a Stokvel, probably be investing in South Africa and Botswana, because the world has become a global village. This is all what we want to do. If we talk about being economic independent, this is what we got to do. I see Mr. Opet Kohanga in Sumet, also an entrepreneur into construction. I see a lawyer, Coco, Shiwi Kokangwehi, with your best friend, Kari. I see Mr. Waitele in Hobabas. I mean, everybody's watching all over the globe. Please post your questions on Facebook, or either Mr. Angel also. This is a very prominent businessman in the North also watching. It's just amazing that everybody has interest. Let's post the questions about Stokvel. That is what the topic is all about tonight. We want to know more about Stokvel. We know that it's not legal in Namibia, but it does not prohibit us to be able to join a Stokvel in South Africa or in Botswana or elsewhere in the world. Now, Mr. John, let me give you the floor so that you can tackle on the Uber example and everybody will be able to hear it. But in the same breath, let me also take a shout out to say, today we had a Kenya-Namibia trade conference at Nempower in Windhoek, Namibia, where we brought all the Namibians and Kenyans that are hungry to be able to grow in business. Tomorrow will be our final day for those who wish us to join. Please feel free. And I'm also seeing Makasa Menete Kashivirwe, who is actually, an entrepreneur herself and a queen, a princess. She's based in the UK, and she does DHL freight. If you also want to link up with her. So everybody that is on this platform tonight, and then our radio that is always, connecting us to people in the diaspora. Pastor Kovi, a special shout out to you. HK95.1, Mr. Percy Kandukira in California, who is actually the brainchild of this Zoom tonight. I'm just only the host. I am not the main person behind this, and you will be able to hear this. I see Flo also in the US. My girl, you've got this. Mr. John, please take over.
Fantastic, Tusi. Thank you very much. I'm going to give the example of that Uber thing, and then we'll take questions because I see that Trabe wanted to ask questions here. Now, it's very important that I give you guys this example. I want to disrupt the way you guys are thinking about money, investment, and creation of wealth. Now, to those in the US, Canada, UK, maybe you've never heard this, even though you know that Uber exists. Uber exists was actually an idea, first of all, since 2009. And then it became a company in 2010. And then in 2011, Uber received one of its first major investments from a venture capital firm with an amount of $6 million. That was in 2011. In 2013, Jeff Bezos, that we know is one of the top 3 or 4 multi-billionaire in the world, invested $2 million.
Sorry, John. A request in the comments. That's why I'm saying we are reading. Chelsea, can you please bring Mr. John to the big screen to be seen? We want to hear you talking about Uber. We got to see your face. Let's have you on the screen, sir. Carol,
okay.
I see you in Paris. Oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful Zoom globally.
Just give me a second. I'm gonna try and do something.
Please give him a second to prepare while he's preparing.
There's something I can't see.
Let me welcome you to
on my
every
screen
person here.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Mr. James, are you in Ghana or in London? That's where I met him. Osei Kwaku, Mr. James. Good to see you. It's awesome. We are talking about Stokvel if you are joining us. We are joined by an expert of 17 years plus in the financial sector. He owns companies globally. We want to know more. How does investment look like in terms of Stokvel? And I'm inviting you, please come out tomorrow for the Kenya-Namibia trade. Fabiola Kashivena, I see you, beautiful.
Tosi, can you hear me?
I still don't see you on the big screen.
Okay, so Tosi, what I'm gonna do, I've just made you a host. So please, the audience, this is gonna be very exciting and mind-boggling. I will blow your minds off. Give me a minute. I'm going to restart my laptop. I made you a host. I'm gonna come back, please.
Okay.
I need my computer to be breathing perfectly so I can carry over this example. Okay, I'll be back just now.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
The recording has stopped.
Jesus. Okay, I can see that the people that are on Facebook, we're still live. The conversation shall continue. He's just restarting his laptop. That's Mr. John. He's based in Johannesburg, educating us on Stokvel. So please stay tuned. Mr. James, thank you so much for the beautiful comment. Uchapachi, I see your comment, beautiful. Glow, I see your comment from the US. And Uchapachi is in Botswana. I mean, who has not joined? Which country has not joined? It's amazing. Carol Aslai, hey, I see you in Paris. Bonjour, comment ça va? Mr. Edison in Canada, I mean, who is not here tonight? So we are going to talk about Stokvel. We shall be educated. It's very imperative. It's very pivotal in life. You know, it's about who you associate yourself with and how you invest your time. Sometimes we'll be watching reality shows, there's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. Sometimes you just need to take a chill pill, be in bed, watching all that. But sometimes you gotta commit to such kind. If Mr. Pesci can come up with this brilliant idea of saying, how do we invest in Stokvel while we're in Namibia, but outside Namibia? Because the world is a global village. That's all it is. Okay? Don't be fooled by my attire. This is the hero attire for those who do not know. When you see this horn, okay, this is our car that we used to for our ancestors. It's very beautiful. We love it. So I was the host today, hosting the Namibia-Kenya trade, and that's why I'm promoting that. Mr. Eames, I see you. I'll see you tomorrow morning as well. We were together the whole day. We had the Deputy Minister of Finance and Public Enterprise as our key note speaker. We had the Kenyan High Commissioner Ambassador to Namibia, Mr. Michael. You know, it was so beautiful. We had the Namibia Investment Board. We're also going to have the Kingdom Bank of Kenya. So tomorrow it's also another opportunity for each and every Namibian who wants to invest their time wisely by going to NemPower to join us at the conference. We also had the former councillor of Kakarara, Mr. Vetaruhe Kandorolo. He was also present. We also had Mrs. Jane Kohanga, who's an agripreneur, which is an entrepreneur agriculture, you know, and many, many wonderful people. Dr. Huma Bindu of Trade. We had a chief economist from Trade, my beautiful sister over there. So, you know, Pastor Kahuvi and your radio, HK95.1, HK95.1. We love you. We love you. Thank you to you and your family for always making this possible. Please continue to share your comments also on HK95.1. We're also going to read them. We are on Zoom. We are everywhere. Ideas on how to grow grocery Stokvel to something big. Yes. I can actually steal that question and be able to answer. We have, what is that? Real estate Stokvel. There is agricultural Stokvel. There are so many Stokvels, and I'm responding to Ingrid's question on Zoom. There are many Stokvels than that one, and Uber is one of them now that he wanted to talk about. Mr. John, are you ready?
I am back.
Thank you for the opportunity and share with us.
Can you guys see me? Is that okay? Can I carry on and blow your minds off with this Uber example?
Yes, first, please take the big screen. We don't see you still.
Oh, you cannot see me? Hold on. How do I put this?
I don't know why I can see myself only on the big screen.
Okay.
Pastor Kobe, can you see Mr. John? Anybody, can you see Mr. John on the big screen?
Can you guys see me?
Because I don't see him.
We can't see him because Tosi, you pin yourself.
Is that better now?
That's a man. He's based in France.
Unpin yourself.
Okay, bonjour. You can speak French to him, Mr. John.
Okay, now I heard earlier. But before I carry on, Tosi, can you see my screen? Is it okay now?
I can see you sharing with me. Yeah, now I can tell you. Now you're on the big screen.
Is that better? HK90. Is that better like this, or should I remove you from the spotlight?
No, I can only see you like on the big one. You there?
No, that's fine. Okay, so that's perfect.
Pastor Kobe, you good to go, right? We happy? Viewers from HK95.1, our diaspora radio. Thank you. Awesome. Yes, yeah, they gave us a thumbs up. Thank you. Please go ahead.
There you go. Cool. Let's go back into the Uber example. Okay, so as I was alluding to earlier, Uber was just an idea in 2009. That's number one. In 2010, two founders, after they met at a Starbucks in California, decided to create a company. So they registered a company in California. Now, in 2011, they went out there to start raising funds. And what did they do? They received the first major check that was $6 million from a venture capital firm. 2 years later, in 2013, Jeff Bezos, who is the multi-billionaire in the world, invested $2 million. $2 million. Oh, sorry, guys, the recording stopped. Yeah, let me just carry on with that recording. Okay, I'm just going to record on the cloud, and then
this meeting is being recorded.
Got you. Okay.
Okay, so, then please start from the beginning.
Sure.
So that we all understand.
Uber was an idea in 2009. In 2010, it took shape. They registered the company. In 2011, Uber received one of the first investments of $6 million from a venture capital firm. 2 years later, Uber received a $2 million investment from Jeff Bezos. And I'm just using these two examples. Of course, in the process, multiple other people invested, especially as part of the venture capital firm. And I'll come back and tell you exactly why we can consider that venture capital firm as STOKVELs. I will explain to you why. Okay, but it's not STOKVEL. It's just called venture capital firm with different rules and regulations. Okay, now fast forward to May 19th, and I remember I was traveling May 19th, 2019. That year, that month, Uber went public as perhaps one of the most memorable IPOs ever in the US at a valuation of $75 billion with a B, not an M, B, $1 billion. $75 billion valuation. That same year, in March, there's a company called Lyft. Think of Lyft as the boat in South Africa. That company went in March at a valuation of $44 billion. Now, yes, it is recording, Tosi. Yes. Now, I'm going to ask you the question. Tosi, I know I did share this information with you already, but I'm just going to give 30 seconds pause to anybody who wants to come online and tell me and give me a response on this question. How much do you think 8 years later, the venture capital firm that invested $6 million, how much do you think they made 8 years? I said 8 years. I didn't say 8 months or 8 days. I said 8 years. Not eight days like all of you want to create wealth overnight. Like you take the 200 Rand STOKVELs and you think that you're going to create $1,000 per week. No, I said 8 years. I want you, anybody in the audience, I want you to raise your hand and come on and tell me and everybody else, how much do you think that $6 million company investment turned 6 years later, 8 years later? And how much do you think Jeff Bezos made 6 years later in 2019? 30 seconds. Who wants to come in and give me the answer real quick? Any number is fair game.
Anybody on Facebook, on Zoom?
Give
in
me
the
the answer.
comments,
Give me
I
the
can
answer
see
real
the
quick.
comments.
Come
I'll
on.
be able to
Give it
tell
in the comments.
on
Yes.
our radio, HK95.1. Anyone who can guess?
Okay, Karoka. Karoka, come on. Come on in.
1.5
Come in.
Carol,
billion.
Carol, are we calling
Okay.
on you?
1.5
Okay.
billion.
Okay, Karora says the $6 million company turned 1.5 billion. Okay, and
Yeah.
somebody else can give me an answer. Come on, somebody else.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
That
Anyone
Mr.
else?
Perez
Anyone
likes
else?
to research things.
Percy, I don't want you to look. I don't.
Percy, who
All right.
said please mute. Oh, hello, baby.
Okay, so Percy
Whose
Percy
baby is
said
that?
Percy said 100%. Okay, so 100% means that 6 million rand turned
1.4.
into 12 million dollars, right? Now, here's the real kicker. Karora was close to the answer for the first time. Now, a lot of people give me 18 million, 100 million, and I understand. Because you know what? You are not used to those kind of returns. Because if somebody would be like, oh wow, so this company, even if they get like 20% every year, and you do 20% a year over a certain period of time, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. That's 180% in 8 years. That's a lot of money. But here's the kick, guys. From $6 million, that company made $9 billion in 8 years, with $540 million payable in cash in the bank account immediately. And the rest was distributed in stocks. Jeff Bezos made from $2 million 6 years later, he made $436 million, with $113 million payable in cash in the bank account. Right now, you go to the ATM, you put money, you withdraw, and the rest available in stocks. But now,
Monsieur, Mr. John, before you continue, please répétez s'il vous plaît the figures. We appreciate that.
Now,
to those that can speak French.
For me to be able to répéter, I want to do something else. I want to show them. I want to blow their mind. So stay tuned. Watch this as I show my screen with you right now on the Uber. Let me guys know. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are seeing my screen as it's being loaded. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are seeing this, and I'll tell you about it. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Can you guys see my screen? I'll go through this in a second. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, fantastic. Good. Beautiful. Now, let's talk about this. As you can see here, this is Uber called Seed Investors. Seed, what a seed means. Seed means early. This is early. Who can be seed, guys? All of you in this call can be a seed investor as part of a collective. Call yourself as STOKVELs. Call them seed STOKVELs. Let's call them Uber's seed STOKVELs. You see why I'm saying it's the connotation, guys. Seed investors. Why are seed investors making money? They're collectively putting money together to be able to achieve a goal, right? So I'm going to clear that real quick. I want to show you something here. Now, as part of the seed, look at this. Oren Michels invested $5,000 in 2010 as part of that VC company. Look at how much he made 8 years later. 24, let me run it off to $25 million. 8 years later. Let me ask you the question. How many of you are you willing to stay around for 8 years and putting around $5,000 for you to be able to create wealth? You're talking about wealth creation? This is wealth creation. This is how you take wealth creation to a whole other level. You set up a generational wealth. You understand what I mean? And that's why America remains the land of the free, the land of the dreamers. Look at this place. Look at this. This guy put $220,000 and made $1 billion. But if we ask you of an opportunity, come and support an entrepreneur who is busy building XYZ, You will make calculations first. No, you know what? I need to buy groceries. I need to pay for my son's school fees, and I need no. You know what? I've got debt over here. No, but that one, no, we don't know who he is. That he's going to run away with the money. Of course, I told you exactly how you should be able to go out there and start figuring out how to identify opportunities. You create wealth by investing, not by keeping money under the mattress or not by keeping money sleeping in the bank. This is just an example. IPO stands for initial public offering. Now, these people cannot necessarily go on them by themselves to be able to invest big chunks. And that's why they go as a collective. And as a collective, let's look here again, as a collective. So 220,000, 95, 75, 50, 30, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 5. All of them as a collective, they were able to put money somewhere because, you know, and this, by the way, the seed investment, you know how much was the seed investment? You know how much was the seed investment? Let me show you here. That seed investment was only $510. That was a seed investment. But this is seed investment because these guys are like, you know what? We believe in this project. We like the sound of it. We like the idea of it. We don't know whether this is going to appear. We don't know whether we are going to make money. Because this money can also disappear. Not disappear having something that is going to fade completely. Absolutely, it can fade. But they banked on the future of the technology. And today, fast forward, Uber is what it is because it listed at $45. Now I'm going to show you something else right now. I'm going to move away from the screen and show you something else. I'm going to go here and say Uber share price, and we'll navigate on something real quick. Okay, so let's look into that. Let's look into that now. As you can see here, the share price of Uber is about. No, I don't want to go there. The share price of Uber is about $42, right? You know what? Let me go into Google. I want you to see better here. Uber share price. Okay, so I know it's $42. So, okay, so I'm going to zoom into this real quick. Now, let's look into this, right? So, the share price of Uber is $42 right now. Yes, it is below the market cap. It is below the price that it was listed at $45. And as you can see here, the curve is going down. Okay, the curve is going down, and this is only 1 day trading. So if I were to take, for example, let's say the year to date, okay, year to date, what does it mean? It means that being an investor is all about being patient, because a year from now, in February, if you invested in Uber at $25, okay, you would now still go up because the trajectory is up, not down. The trajectory is up. So it's only February, April, and June. We have about 5 or 4 months whereby $25 a stock. You throw in $1,000 there, you grow your wealth over there. Now, unfortunately, many people in Africa don't have the opportunity to go out there and just invest into Uber as a technology company. And that's where Axalio is coming in to be able to bring and develop these opportunities to the marketplace. Now, look at the market cap here. The market cap is $85 billion. $85 billion. And remember, Uber was listed at a $75 billion market cap. Come on now. And you guys don't understand this thing. Now, let me show you. Let me give you another one. Let me go into 5 years. Let's look at 5 years. Of course, it's gone up and down. Now, let's come here. If I go here at a peak at $60, it means that those who really stayed a long time on Uber at $60, they just created wealth overnight. But if I take the maximum, if I go into the maximum right there, yes, that's still fine, because as you can see here, yes, Uber listed on May 10th in 2019, May 10th, at an average price of $41 right there, the trading price. But this is how you create wealth. And we at Axalio, we are a listed, registered company. We are registered as Axalio Technologies Inc. Okay, Axalio Technologies Inc. Not Uber, but we are Axalio Technologies Inc. in the US, because we want to list one day in 3 or 4 or 5 years at the New York Stock Exchange. This is what collective investing is all about. But however, the rules and regulation around collective investment is the following. When you invest in a venture capital firm, This is known as risk capital because a venture capital is risking capital for the expectation of creating a beautiful return, not for the certainty of creating return, but for the expectation, because that's exactly what investing means. Investing means allocating my money into an opportunity, a product, a business, or whatever else, with the expectation that it is going to give me a good return, not with the certainty, but with the expectation. We got to make those differentiate, right? The reason why banks give you the certainty is because you buy into the security and the bank's reputation, but the banks will never give you a 10,000%. The bank will only give you 2% because the bank is absorbing all the risk and then know exactly how to allocate the capital. They will only give you 2%. So even if the bank makes 1,000% on your money, well, they will only give you 2%. You know why? Because you have not taken the risk like the bank did. And that's what venture capital firms are there to be able to proliferate that information. And of course, I can give you multiple examples. Let's say, for example, let's go for Meta. Meta is, which used to be Facebook. And look at that today. Meta is trading at 281. And today, Meta has a market cap of $722 billion. But do you know that if you had invested $1,000 on Meta in 2012, fast forward 5 years later, that $1,000 could have given you $175,000. We are just here using Facebook every single day, posting pictures, gossiping, and all that kind of stuff. But you don't know that you could actually make money at the back of Facebook by investing in a Facebook stock. The reason why a company goes public by listing on the stock market is because they want to raise more money for them to be able to develop their businesses further and achieve greater results, right? And that's exactly why we are busy building our company with this in mind. Now, you talk about STOKVELs. Why do you want to limit your imagination around STOKVELs? Whereby you can go beyond the STOKVEL herd mentality and propel your thinking in realizing the power that money is. Remember, when in my opening remark earlier on, I said money is just energy. Money is momentum. Money is velocity. If you are scared of money, well, it will not bring you good and any more money. It will not birth you any baby money. But if you understand money and you master the notion of money, understanding that it is a medium of exchange, a way of paying for goods, but also it can have a store of value behind it. But typically, fiat money doesn't really have store value. Okay. Once you understand these fundamental principles, you would now realize how to allocate your capital. Find the best information, find the best opportunity. And the reason why STOKVELs are not regulated in Namibia is because
This meeting is being recorded.
Public funds, whereby oftentimes it is being used as a leverage to say what you are going to invest and get a return. That's wrong. When you start soliciting the public funds to promise people a return, that is wrong. But if you say, for example, oh no, we are collectively keeping money to do this and do that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You don't have to call it a STOKVEL. You just need to be a few people, 2 or more people, collectively agreeing to something for a common purpose. The structuring of it makes the whole difference. There you go. And I can answer multiple other calls and so forth. I'm so passionate about this. I can talk like for days. But you know what? Let's stick for there for now.
Clearly. Okay. So I think we're going to take 2-3 more questions and then we wrap up. But let me quickly go to our comments. Okay, so that's Ingrid's answer that I answered while we were offline. Ideas on how to grow our grocery STOKVEL to something big. And then we have another one from Unja. It is saying, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. John, can you please share with us, what is your advice on how to move from the small scale STOKVEL, basically the same question, rotation of money, etc., to how much STOKVEL properties and investments, and what are the risks? What are the risks and opportunities to such movements? Let me see. Basically, those are the 2 questions that I have here. Let me see whether we have anything on Facebook. And like I said, if you're joining us, we are talking to Mr. John, 17 years plus years of experience, about how STOKVEL works. He gave us a very good case studies of Uber and how much they have made. billions of dollars. So that we can wrap up, we've got about 5-7 minutes. Anybody with a hand up on Zoom, if you want to ask a question, feel free and keep it brief so that we get a final remark from Mr. John, and then we schedule another Zoom. I think that's about it.
I'm gonna go and there's Trabe who has a question. Trabe, you wanna chime in and then just come on in and ask a question. Come on.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for this your presentation. No, I came in a bit late. I came in a bit late in terms of this STOKVEL, what it is, the concept. I think, can you just, I've got more than one question. So if you could just clarify for me in terms of STOKVEL is like where everybody collectively save money together, and then each person in this collective, they get turns in taking like the what's the word, the bulk of whatever's collected, like weekly or monthly, however. Is that correct?
That's the traditional original sense of the savings STOKVEL. So whereby people are collectively putting money, and on a rotational basis, they move money around and give it to somebody else and so forth.
That's
that has worked for a very long time because you would save because you want to accomplish something. But STOKVELs today have grown beyond that original mentality and seeking opportunities out there, which, by the way, I will now dive into to answer somebody else's question. But carry on before I answer that other question to also address yours.
That's what I was asking, like in terms of, so basically what you're proposing tonight is like people would use that, everybody collectively putting money together, but would use that for investing instead.
Yeah, I will look, if you come to me, I'm an entrepreneur and very aggressive. I see opportunity. Rotational savings is a waste of time.
I understand.
Exactly. So what we need to do now is, and now I'm going to use the opportunity to also answer somebody else's question here that Tusi raised, is how can we move away from a small, I would probably say the traditional ways of saving money into something else, right? Now, Trabe, listen, where are you dialing from? You're probably in the UK or somewhere around.
I'm from the UK. I'm in the UK.
Fantastic. Yes. So, Trabe, you, me, and 10 other people get together, okay? We tell ourselves, listen, guys, we need to be able to start buying gold. Let's buy gold. Let's buy gold, guys. Let's buy gold. Let's buy gold, because you know what? Everybody's flocking into gold. The fiat is losing money, that kind of stuff, right? So we said, fine. So how much is 1 kilo of gold? So 1 kilo of gold today is about $60,000. So let's say we are 60 people, right? Now 60 people. And we said to ourselves, okay, fine. So, but do we have what can we do? Hold on a second. So if I do 60,000 divided by 60, that's $8,000 each. So now, can we together put $1,000 on a monthly basis so that each and every single month we can actually accumulate at least 1 kilo of gold? Now, you say, oh yes, fantastic, great. So how about we create a new, let's call it STOKVEL or collective for the purpose of investing into gold? Now, I'm earning $5,000. After my expenses, I'm always left with probably about $2,500. But in my $2,500, I will allocate about $1,000 towards my STOKVEL constitution, because we've agreed to that. And we want to make sure collectively every single month, towards for at least 1 year, we want to accumulate at least 12 kilo of gold. So you, me, and 58 other people who work, the entrepreneurs, business people, and so forth, we now come in and we choose among ourselves who is going to be the administrator. We trust ourselves. We trust each other. Let's focus on trusting for now. Okay, we can address all the other issues later on. But right now, let's focus on trust. Everybody trusts each other. Everybody always is on the same page.
I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Yes.
I understand it. So I just wanted that clarifying. That's all.
Exactly.
But in terms of the other things, like you're saying, because I'm, for instance, I want to know in terms of what safeguards are in there, from someone to just within the group to decide, for instance, they're not going to pay their £1,000 because you have those issues with normal STOKVEL, and then for someone to run away with the money, whoever's the administrator.
And that,
for instance, with the banks, if for instance there's a financial crash, I know you mentioned earlier about the banks were bailed out, but people's monies were also people's money, people were guaranteed, like if you had like, I don't know, you were guaranteed at least 250,000. I remember in the US, but in the UK it's 85,000 pounds.
Yeah.
If you had savings of more than that, the bank would pay you that. So I'm thinking, what sort of safeguards are there in your STOKVEL? Obviously there are risks, but what sort of safeguards are there?
Yes. So now this is now where comes in the regulation and how you set this thing up. Because if you now start soliciting funds from people, most importantly, it's about how do you set up the structure. I want to clarify something. I am not selling you any STOKVELs. I am not selling you STOKVELs. I'm here sharing knowledge for you to be able to understand the potential out there, right? If you have to work with me, I'm a different beast altogether. I am building a global financial infrastructure that will revolutionize exactly opportunities for the African people, for you, my brother, in the UK, for you to realize that, you know what, it should be more to you than just having to send money back home. But now, how do you assess my viability? For example, what licenses do I have to carry out financial services or financial activities in the world? Am I regulated? That's number one. If I am regulated, what jurisdiction actually regulates me? What kind of licenses do I have? Do I have the authority to actually hold your deposit? Because now, when you put money into my organization from the UK, you're going to make sure that you're putting money into somebody who is going to manage your money well. So am I fully regulated to be able to make that happen? And if I do have a license, what license, what jurisdiction licenses me to be able to make that happen? If so, what kind of measures do I have in place in case, for example, there are financial crises out there? Do I have an insurance safeguard? Like in the US, for example, there's the FDIC insurance that happens where people can actually get, for example, $250,000. Now, with the SVB collapse, it's gone up to $1 million. In the UK, you're getting about £85,000. So those are the actual opportunities to understand and the question to ask yourself. So if I were to come through and offer you the opportunity, what is the entity that is allowing me to be regulated? Maybe I'm regulated out of the Cayman Island, or I'm regulated in the Mauritius Island, so that I can actually facilitate your KYC. Because if I were to be doing that, for example, from the US or from here, you wouldn't be KYC. I'm just giving an example, or because of where you come from, right? So these opportunities, and that's me as a financial institution building a global digital banking infrastructure built on the trust layer of blockchain technology. Those are the things that we are implementing so that you in the future and soon can benefit from opportunities like Uber. However, if you want to be able to identify things where, for example, you would like to invest in an entrepreneur or a company, then that's a conversation we can have a little differently, whereby we are extending something that we are doing right now as boldly as possible to folks who want to be a part of it. You can say, for example, to me, hey, John, you know what? I love what you're saying, and I love the vision about Exalio, your company. How can I be a part of it? Well, that's a separate conversation, because here I am not making an offer. I made it very, very clear at the very beginning. I am not extending any offer. You want to invest with me in my company? That's going to be a separate conversation with legal disclaimers and all that kind of stuff, whereby you review, you make your decision, you choose, boom, you go out there. That's called ethical. It's ethical in the global world of business. Otherwise, you know what? I speak well, I convince well. I can come in here and say, hey guys, you guys are 26 here. I'm opening up a STOKVEL. Please put in £1,000 every single month, and before you know it, I've collected more money.
No, that's fine. You've cleared it up. You've cleared it up. Thank you.
Okay, so come on, Karora.
Okay, so we're wrapping up.
No, give Karora the mic. He wants to ask one question. I see his hand is up.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
You hear me? Yes, boss.
Go ahead.
Hear me? I just wanted to ask something, because we're telling about you put a remark, getting rich after one day.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, I have experience with those kind of things. You know, someone.
Right.
No. It's a serious thing. You know, one company or someone tell me, yeah, he's from a company called Ketchup in US. I can invest in their company with 100 euro. In 24 hours, I will get 25,000 pounds. I say, okay, I will do it. I make a fabricate a fake proof of payment. I send it to them. They give me a link. Open up. Hold on. Open up a website.
Right.
You see, they tell me, look here, now you have 5,000 after 1 hour. Tomorrow you have 24,000.
Right.
Looks real. You understand? It's a
Right.
website with my name and the amount.
Right.
Now, when I tell them, yeah, no, can I get a payout out of this, even £5,000? You say, no, things don't go like that. You have to pay, you have to upgrade your account with £1,500.
All right.
I don't
Okay.
pay for money.
Okay.
No.
Let me.
Now,
Yeah. Let me help
me-
you. Let me help you.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
To everybody listening to me right now, to all the 27 people who are connected with me right now, listen to this advice. If you do not apply what I'm just about to tell you, how can I put it? You're a fool not to listen to this advice. Now,
It's your loss.
anybody,
In other
it's your
words.
loss. Any advice number one, anybody, I repeat, anybody, even if it is your mom, your uncle, your son, your daughter, I repeat, anybody who reaches out to you on social media, you've never spoken to them before.
I think you Mr. John?
Yes, hi.
Yeah,
Can
we
you hear
couldn't
me?
hear you. May you please repeat that? Répétez, s'il vous plaît, monsieur.
Okay. Anybody, I don't care who that person is, whether it is Tusi, Percy, or John Lombella, who reaches out to you on any social platform, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even WhatsApp, and send you a link and tell you, or anything, even SMSs, and tell you, listen, click on this link, register here, put $10 here so that you can actually block that person immediately. I repeat, for the love of you guys, block that person immediately. You will see them all the time. Somebody sends you a message. Hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? Hey, have you heard of the 200 Rand WhatsApp STOKVELs? Hey, have you heard? If you don't know this person, you've never spoken to that person before to ask them questions, block them. Don't even entertain them, and to try and find out, hey, you know what? How does it work? Blah blah blah. I want to be able to. Somebody's. Let me just mute this person. Okay, so if you do not know, rule number one, block, because these guys know. If you start engaging with them, they will tap into your emotional conscious. And at that time, you are so like desperate to making money that you will listen to this person. That's number one. Number two, after this conversation right now, you see, oh wow, John Lamela is intelligent, he knows what he's talking about, he's got experience. Maybe tomorrow or next week, somebody sends you a WhatsApp message with my picture on it, and it's written John Lombella, and they tell you, hey, you know what? We heard about that STOKVEL thing, very, very interesting. I'm interested. Are you interested to invest 100 Rand or $100 in my company? Block that person immediately and report the number. I repeat, even if that person is me using my face, okay, using my face. Let me show you guys how I look like. Okay, just like that. If you see somebody who come in, block that person immediately. Why? No solicitation on unwanted channels. It does not happen. That's number two. Number three, everybody who promises you crazy return that you've never heard of, block them. Don't even ask, oh, but how does it work? No. You're wasting your time. Block them. Okay? How does it work? You have to reach out to me if you want to work with me, if you want to know more about what I am working on. So you will come into our channels, whether it's me or anybody else. Okay? FNB, the bank doesn't come to you, you go to the bank. Now you will say to them, listen, I heard you speak, I like what you said, I would like to achieve this. How can I do that? Then I take you offline it's a personal one-on-one conversation where we discuss all these things and understand your goals and lead you the way. And then you make a financial decision, right? But at the same time, there are things that require, if you are not knowledgeable, we always ask you to go and speak to someone who can help you understand better. But do what? DYOR, do your own research so that you can be well-versed about what I am saying or anybody else is saying for you to make a final decision. And now, lastly, when you part ways with your money after you have researched, read, and understood better, and deep down your soul, you've made that decision. I am going to invest $10,000 into that business. I'm going to invest $100,000 into agribusiness. You've just made a conscious decision whereby if that opportunity works based on the research you've done, you could be a multimillionaire in 2, 3, 4, 5 years or in one day. But if it flops, you would have made a decision based on your financial appetite and as well the ability for you to incur that loss. And ultimately, as a bonus, never ever put money, which is your last reserve, into a financial opportunity or a commitment. And finally, as a parting shot here, so that Tusi can actually take the lead, wealth creation is a marathon. It is a journey.
Okay.
It is not a sprint. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a mouthful. Okay. May we please emphasize on this. We are not, I repeat, not N-O-T, not lobbying. We do not have any STOKVEL. I am just an MC to bring in Mr. John, who's an expert, to come and elaborate like he elaborated tonight on how STOKVEL works. We all do know, or for those who do not know, and I'm emphasizing on the do not know and know, that STOKVEL in Namibia, it is not yet legal. So we are not recruiting people to join any STOKVEL. I repeat, we are not recruiting or advocating in any way, shape, or form for anyone to join any STOKVEL. But what we are doing is to bring education closer to the people, for people to be able to ask questions, at the same time to be able to make conscious decisions as to where they want to invest in the future. And Mr. Lobela is going to come back again. We're going to have another Zoom. I personally, and I speak for me, I shall join him, because I don't want to sit here 5 years down the line and I'll be regretting and say I should have done so. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, so it's just for us just to listen, to learn how it works. And this is why he brought research that is available on the internet about Uber and any other study cases, where you can also go make reference yourself so that you can have comfort and know that it's not a scam. We are not scamming anybody. We are not advocating for anything. What Mr. Pesci did out of California was to say, Ms. Tosi, can you please come be the host? And that is exactly what we did tonight. With those words that I wanted to make sure, and thanks God that it is recording, may I then express my boundless gratitude to each and every person that has tuned in on each and every platform. Okay, we've got a question before I say, because now we're running out of time.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
about
we're going to be so kind to allow you.
3 minutes, but
Please
we're going
ahead.
to allow you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. John, just a simple question. As you said, or what I read in your remarks, the banks are somehow bloodsuckers, sort of. Why are we black people don't have our banks? Where is the problem?
Okay, that will be a conversation for another day. We will be talking about how Axalio is creating a digital banking platform that will allow every single African from within Africa and the African diaspora to be a part of this journey. That's a conversation for another day. Carraro, I will address those concerns in the future.
Mr. John, may I say this?
Yes.
Mr. Carrara out of Paris, please. Our friend somewhere there. Okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, today we had the Namibian-Kenyan trade conference at the NAMPower. There is a bank called Kingdom Bank in Kenya, where Blacks owns that bank through what? Guess what? Huh? The same thing, STOKVEL.
There you go.
Which is a cooperative in Namibia. So there are other Blacks. And even in Nigeria, how many banks have we seen? Secondly, what I do want to say is, this is to provoke each and everybody's thought. There are 4 pillars that I believe in personally. This is my personal opinion. And as Africans, we'll be able to move forward, because what our kids have been taught in school right now is of colonial history.
There you go.
The other thing that we are lacking, may I finish, please? I said 4. Another one is agriculture. Whatever that we are consuming, we do not produce it, most of us of color, right? The same thing that you said is the bank system. We do not own that until we take up that space. We the youth of today, we talk about economic emancipation. So when we have a brother like this, I would tell you, I left my home country, DRC. I'm based in Johannesburg for 21 years, and I'm doing financial investment, not only in Johannesburg, but globally. It's something that we need to think for. And then the other thing, the 4th thing, is the health system. We've seen this over a time and over again, when our presidents in any other country believes in the West health system, where they need to go and have their operations. Now the future, to shape the future, is such conversations that we're having about STOKVEL. How do we move forward as people? We cannot be blaming the colonial system forever. We gotta move somewhere. So everybody gotta say, as an African, what is it that I wanna do? Just the same thing that, may his soul rest in peace, Mr. Gaddafi. He wanted our own currency. It's something that we want, but now we need to move somewhere. So it's a conversation for another day. May I please express my boundless gratitude to each and every person that has tuned in tonight. Your time is so valuable. May we please thank our guest of honor to say thank you so much, Mr. John. We understand, we see your passion that you want to educate. We're forever crying and saying, oh, we're not financially literate. This is the financial aspect.
Tusi,
Can we then go out?
I just want to add a couple of things, Tusi.
Okay.
First of all, I wanna go on the bandwagon of Belinda Kangundwe. Says it's not a question, but food for thought. I strongly believe that this type of interventions will be more beneficial than all these pyramid schemes that we invested in the past and lost our money. Belinda, absolutely. I am passionate about a couple of things. Education, and also what I am working on is a result of personal frustration that I lived in my journey as an entrepreneur over the last 15 years. And in fact, I've also just posted for some of you guys asking for my details. I'm pointing you guys to my LinkedIn profile, my Twitter, and my personal website, johnlombela.com. So please go out there, hit the follow, or ask me for a connection on LinkedIn. I share a lot of information every day on LinkedIn. In fact, today I am about to post. I turned 44 years old this year. I don't look like it. I still look 24. And I am going to post 24 harsh truths that I should be able to tell to my 24-year-old self. I want you guys to go and read all of those 24 points and make comments. And you will identify that some of the things that I talk about there are a result of my knowledge, my experience over time, my frustration traveling around the world. I've been privy to travel in 41 plus countries in 4 continents, and I've spoken publicly in 15 countries around the world, from Malaysia to Singapore to LA to Toronto to London to Nairobi to Nigeria to Zimbabwe. I've met with the president there, to Swaziland. I've been all over. Now, I also invite you to follow my YouTube channel, for you to get to go out there and see, some of the things that I'm actually doing on YouTube, and the conferences that I've been able to do out there. Go out there and please do not spam me in terms of offers. If you want to do anything that has anything related to financials, I want us to respect the channel, okay? I want us, first of all, you can, oh, by the way, this is interesting. I can share something where you can express interest, but I want you to go to Tusi, number one, and then to Percy. They are the originator of anything here. You come to me directly, I will refuse you. I will accept you in terms of the conversation, but I will send you back to them because I want to keep that conversation flowing that way. I wouldn't have known you guys if it wasn't for Percy, not a Tusi. So we need to respect that form of communication. And remember, there's no solicitation here. There's no asking, there's no offering, there's no nothing. It's about sharing knowledge. By sharing knowledge, we grow because the future, you know what? If you don't have knowledge, you will be colonized and you will remain a slave in the world of the digital era. I'm here to share knowledge, and people who know me know that John
Please
is
say for
passionate
free.
about exactly.
Mr. John?
If you do not have knowledge or willing to learn, you will remain a slave. And what does a slave do? A slave serves his master. And the master are the people who know where to find information in a digital space. Today, we're talking about ChatGPT. How many of you have actually even touched about artificial intelligence and done something on ChatGPT? Go think about that, right? So those are the things that I want to leave you with. And I welcome you to be able to engage. And Tosi is going to be our mediator for creating opportunities for everybody here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And these are the type of leaders and youth leaders that we need. This information is supposed to be paid for. This is what he charged. Even myself, yes, MC, it's something that I'm supposed to be paid for. But the love that we have for the continent, the love that we have for our community, the love that we have for our people, this is why we do what we do every day. And also, may I also please give a special shout out to HK95.1. Please go and like and subscribe our diaspora radio. It's based in the UK, but it really disseminates information. Mr. Percy Kandukira, if you want to come and say a final word so that we close off, this was his initiative. I am just the host. But at the same time, and it's not to block you from Mr. John, it's only to say we want to go back to him in a group. But I, as Tosi Shiombo, personally, I shall reach out to him. I am going to invest in South Africa. I'm going to join the STOKVEL. Belinda Kangundo, the one that you just said, she's, by the way, my colleague, an HR specialist. So thank you all so much for joining. Couldn't thank you enough. Thank you for your time. We know it's winter time in Namibia. You could have done something else, but you wanted to invest in your future. And for that, we are forever grateful. Mr. Pesci, so that we call off. Mr. John, your love just says it all. It's been 2 hours that you've been committed here. You've been here before 7 o'clock and you're still sticking around. What more can you ask for? Beautiful motherland. God bless Africa. God bless each and every one of you. Remain blessed. Mr. Pesci, are you there so that we can close up?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Percy, go
yes,
ahead.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, first of all, Tosi, thank you very much for being the host for this evening in Namibia and the UK. It's actually my noon time here in California. Thank you very much, Tosi. We appreciate you very much on behalf of the think tank and OTJIWANA Economic Foundation. We hope to do more of this. My brother, John, thank you so much.
You're welcome, man.
For spending 2 hours with us just to give us knowledge around STOKVELs, the risk, the regulations, and so forth. We hope to have more of these conversations with you. I would also like to appreciate my brother in the UK, HK95.1 radio, Pastor Kauvi, Alikanoku Hepashinene, Okushitanao. Thank you so much for streaming this live. And everyone who attended, we appreciate you. We will be sharing some a document on this webinar so that it's clarified. And if you foresee to do whatever in the future, then you have the knowledge. So we'll put it together in a very nice documentation and then share it on social media. With those words, thank you. Have a great evening. And make sure you're warm in Namibia and the UK.
and Tosi, Tosi, and everybody else here. Everybody else here. I'm going to leave you with this. I love you all, but I want us to move away from the limitless connotation around STOKVEL. In fact, I don't even want us to call it Stockvels anymore. Let's call it a collective effort to develop our own economy in Africa, whether it is through investment, through savings, whatever that is. We need to be able to achieve that collective effort. Okay, that's a collective effort.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Love you all. God bless. Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye.
We see you tomorrow at Nampower, Namibia, Kenya Trade Conference for those that are in Windhoek. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Mr. John Percy. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okunena kuhepa mupolatino wanje mutakame ndino ndi katwalira mapitithiro ulili polwe pothea twamuno kokusha matuyeta matumiitere o mapitithiro yobakotombani ngiro kalubile kushambiwe batere njiro STOKVEL ana bano kambongalilongo kakamanuka okusha shimatumuno kokusha kako ndino ndi matumanine mbo ulili tulale nutu tulipule na bealwe tulilongelele konabeka okusha simepothondangi chinene kwenda muhembu mwe ku bumwatokera pamwe na bakotomba mbasha mabe bango kuya kwene be kumuhepulile nambi be nabyo mundo bombude peke nemada takauka pothia matumuno kokusha katuno kubango ku confirm katuno kubango kuhepula katuno kubanga okulilete mbu matuhepula pothia mehi muno maudhu peke ngunda tuli kombande hina ulidi mukana maudhu peke nge tuyaruro mbona mukana maudhu peke nge to udhe mukatuko bandu okusha ona ulidi pothia wina kihira kana tamakukuro udhe walwe bekambara kushanga hino oshoko do WhatsApp ndehe pura rume dahe pura damana wida matu unju kusha rume jukutushie kuningiro kalubede mbalume mabe kutihe purira kusha konongo makukurwaye wina inokushwa kusha puli pepi nupe na iye inokushwa sha wina pumuthuwani nembo muthuwana bipothia tutakaenda pamwe na ulili oratu yenu eshuana shinga matukaenda pamwe pothia po pumba ingide kusha katuna dino ndikatwali na mapitithiro kako twekuana sana njo mbongaro yo STOKVEL ulili porwe nai mikambura kusha mutu acha tubirikitha ulili kusha bandu yubandu ndaombo nulu patenge byarwe kokusha upo tulale na ulili pothia mothubera shinene atudhembi njongumbiro atudhembi kukumbira sana atudhembi okuyandipalitha sana maudhu peke rondu alihembisha katuno kushiwambi kono kushiwa mukono mbietu ulungamo kono kushiwambi mbira monjoroka mehuporo mukono okusha pehe puliwe uthukukala nokushiwako kushakako omundu wale mahupu binu mapindukabi mbonene ulilila lwelo kusha sometimes we spend too much time pleasing other people and displease ourselves until we forget that we are also human beings that need to smile, that need to be happy. We need to put our happiness as a priority because people change, everything ends. Kuno shina shishikalelera. Pathia pehe puli ushuweko kusha owe munahepero shashuli na ulili gunda kuhiya byaro bingiru membiudera mukatuko munyo owe munahepero owe mundu njambiwe kumema shimo bango kulira era kusho owe mundu guhena hepero shuwa kusha peno bandu mbatenga nukhena shina peno bandu mba utapa ulili ndino ndi obandu behupa beno munyo matutulunga mobingi puthia ngatulira ere kusha omaudhe omutuli no bipwite mungatuli kanjiro njandero yehupo letu onjala nonyota mutuli kanjiro njandero yehupo letu mapekalo bina bima biyakwete mapekalo bina bima bitupowa orondo oshinashi shino lubede lwasho njala bye kangalelele udhe we omuli kaukalelele pandera mbo ulili nuulithubere nukaendoko mulungu shinashi utho kushita oli anjere kulilo shingoma shapo muyero ko mundu wale ngushima kuhepa oli anjere kokusha ukalire shu second option na ukukalira yo obo mushabali ko ulipula wobo mushabali ke hupodorondo ove omuni kolito apere po posis keng borta kolito apere po luwede omuni po mwenene okuriandi parisa nokukaenda kumulungo mehupo okuja po baturara ba takonjoko kuja tumite njomba ngalira njo uliri nuyanda maita koma mbanga ngathiru menga hena mapekalo update tho biheroro na ndima tupewa mapengro tho STOKVEL no bikwa nembe video uliri pothia okupora tena unonga para shinene uliko kushauka kali na unongo kushapo nunga hino imbimbi mabihingirwa bihe pena iya okuja matu yanderemba twautulukulu shinene uliti bantu bara mawe pratene ko bina byo STOKVEL mona ali baheroro bathu ko bina shibambyo oba kuhoninwa opulu mweputu athukara kongotwena katu ingecha mwabina rume mbima betana uli hupo shinene orondo noho twe limita na imbyo kusha kako shima bitakuma okusha oyo bantu balwe bitu kuingiro sherero limitation anjinjito twako kwete ito bako kusha tuhanonga paranu atuhamengela mukati ko bantu balwe mbuma betu yerurura no kutuhonga mwabina peke okusha oumba mbulipo ulili iya twali no STOKVEL ambanjea kudhako kushiwana Economic Foundation anje yasharika na muhange tupatera nangu kuhanda sana kamangalirongo wina twashiti nao kutia wandu katito they are reluctant kuimbimbia shama kushimona ko imaliba no bikwa yambia na iya kutia line ipo nje tulare babirikiza rukulu no mebirikiza rukwa uri kushaje tulare dino ndi irongerere ko kuhembe mwetera mapitithiro omunyoka titi wau akusha matu hakaene thonda matu tala kusha thonda matu penduka bi atumuyetere mapitithiro rumwe kuhu mindano kuyandi palithathana iya puthia muwabihe katukulithwa ngena ruthwero muwabihe mbimo shiti konja nuri raera kusha oba muna hepero iraera kusha iberi momotona iraera kusha mbinga utulongamo kabino kukutea kushobe haliro mundu rithewera ulirira ngalire ngunda hina shina orondo uruthero rutar rare nawa mebirike bye.
HK Radio 95.1. Live from Manchester to the UK, Namibia, Canada, the US, and all over the world. This is HK Radio 95.1.